Hello. In tonight's video, we're going to be examining the ForEach activity, which is a replacement for the flow-in activity. In BEPL 2.0 projects, the ForEach activity can be used, and it can be used both sequentially and with parallel execution, and we will examine both. First, we'll do the sequential. And basically, it's very similar to the other pieces or examples I've given where we get some data from the employees table. In this case, the employees from a certain department. We get the account of employees in that. I'll just show it. And basically, we're doing a count of the collection of the output. And the nice thing about BEPL 2.0 is it gives a little bit more variable-like look to it. It doesn't have just the backslash, which often looks like a divide symbol, but actually looks like a variable symbol. So that's a little nicer to work with. And then we have the ForEach, and you create the counter and the counter values, which is starting with this and ending with this. And as always, when cycling through data, you want to make sure that the output is the same number as in the table, so we will verify that. Starting with 1 should most likely be the correct number. We can test it, however. And we have an assign, which will take each one of the values for each node. Here you have the position of n, and here again we have the m count and the counter value being written to the file that we're creating. And we're creating a file for each record. Okay, let's go out and test this. I will be getting Department 100 employees, and we test the web service. And in 2 seconds and 34 milliseconds, we get the output. And over in Windows Explorer, we also get 6 files, each containing a different, I'm not going to open them all, but close enough. And we have different data, which is always a good sign. And if we look at the employees for employment, let me change this here, 100, we have these people, and we have 6, 3 and 3. I'm going to assume that we have the right people for this, so I won't look at that, compare the files, but you would normally. And now we're checking our flow. And you can see that it's assigning through the, we can take a look at the payload here. Kind of bounces around a little bit. But the real interesting thing about this would be the flow, because we're going to see that it is in fact sequential. And you can see that it is working this way. Let's go back and change it to parallel. And I'll take you back out when it deploys. Okay, we're going to test it again. 280 seconds, 2 seconds and 81 milliseconds. The flow trace. The flow. And this time you can see that it is doing each one technically at the same time. I'm not sure if it actually spawns a separate thread. I've read that it does not. At least the flow in did not. But that's more of an internal issue. And you can see that it's gradually, each one of these is a separate assign, and that's why there's so many of them. but it's working in parallel this time as opposed to the previous one, which was sequential. And that is the for each activity. Have a good evening.